Harry, New Muties 61. This is the third and final part of the Fall of the Muties themed story. This one's cover shows the team departing Paradise Island and leaving their animal friends behind. It combines with issues 59 and 60, their covers, to create this montage which shows the story and its progression. This is good, but I personally prefer covers 1 and 2 as individual images, and then the third one as a little thing that bothers me that I'll get into. The team are off-centre. It makes sense when you combine them together because this cover is the rightmost cover, and the alignment of the characters works as the third part of an image. As a single cover, it looks like a mistake. I cut it out, but I made this all point when I unboxed the omnibus. As a team shot, it is quality, but as a single image, they need to be moved about 2 inches to the left. There's also unnatural empty space top left under the corner box. Oh, another thing. Quickly, all of the Fall of the Muties stories, they too add combining covers. But I like that one consistent is that the final parts depict the team victorious, like on the Extra Factors cover, or at least flying off to win, like on the Uncanny Excellent Men one. I'll read. So, Cypher is dead, shot down in battle. This issue largely deals with the fallout from that, the characters reacting to and dealing with the death of Cypher. 2 of the main things are that Wolf's Girl blames herself. She is overwhelmed with guilt. Cypher died protecting her, and she feels that she wasn't worth it and that she should have died instead. The other is Magic Girl, Anya Taylor-Joy. She is very angry about things, and she wants revenge and to take it out on bad people. She gets her wish because one of Kirk Cameron's goons is still around, left behind, and they try to attack the New Muties, but Anya Taylor-Joy transports him to a L dimension and abandons him there to the mercies of the evil demons that live there. Kind of rehashing what she did to Moreau. She's not very original, is she? One day, I will have to explain this character. Anya Taylor-Joy, Magic Girl. I will have to explain her powers and her backstory and her swords and the L dimension. And I do not look forward to that day. Maybe I will review Infernus. If people really want to see me suffer, start requesting that now. And I might get around to it by 2027. The Excellent Men, they say... Damn it. I was doing such a good job. I have called them the New Muties for almost all of this story, and I failed at the finish line. The New Muties say goodbye to McNugget and the other animal boys. And then we cut to Mr. Magnets. He has gone to the bondage club to use their resources to locate his missing students. I said last part that he went there because Emma Frosty's is there, and that is reason enough. But turns out Emma Frosty's isn't there. He's totally wasted his time. We get some references here to the other two Fall of the Muties stories. The ones in Extra Factors and Uncanny Excellent Men. Oh yeah, Mr. Magnets is a member of the Bondage Club. This is a story that goes nowhere. He joined the Bondage Club in New Muties issue 51 by Christopher Clairvoyant, and that should explain why the story goes nowhere. The Master Planner himself will introduce something like that in 1987, and then in the 4 years he has left of Excellent Men stories, he still will not bother to pay any of it off. Mr. Magnets joined because us muties gotta stick together, and some bullshit wartime comparison. That is Christopher Clairvoyant's version of this character in a nutshell. He's also the headmaster of the Excellent Men School for similar reasons. Christopher Clairvoyant can only write character work through incessant validation. I was going to talk about that a bit more, him being headmaster, but I won't. This issue is about Cypher's death, not Mr. Magnets. We have this nice page here, a quiet, reflective bit with the kids looking at framed photos of the odd Excellent Men teams. I like this. It is a sweet bit that has them talking around the elephant in the room and trying to distract themselves with the past to avoid dealing with their present. Anya Taylor-Joy, some lovely writing of her. This gets into why she believes in Mr. Magnets so much. She sees him as someone who can protect her and fight off the evil demon hordes from the other dimension, which in turn allows her time to... It allows her a chance to try and be a normal girl. More Wolf's Girl sorrow and melodrama. And neglected to mention, Cypher and Wolf's Girl were sort of a thing, especially in the preceding issues by Lewis Simons. They were flirting and clearly being presented as the obvious couple pairing we were going to put together. And they were charming and cute together. Cannonballs feels he is responsible for Cypher's death, as he was both the eldest and, I assume, team leader, and that he should have been watching out for Cypher. When we have Mary Sue Moonchild and Eclipse talking things through, I will talk about something else. That isn't to say that Lewis Simons doesn't likewise also give them substantive reactions to the death, but I don't really like the characters. Marvel eventually brings Cypher back to life in the 1993 crossover Borg Covenant. Cypher is resurrected by the Borg as a zombie robot thing. I actually really like that story, Borg Covenant, and the undead Cypher is another thing I like. Bringing back Cypher, bringing back any dead character really, always has the knock-on effect of making their death less special. I think with how they brought back Cypher, it didn't plainly undo the death. The Cypher they bring back isn't really Cypher. It can be Cypher as much as you want it to be Cypher, but they establish that it isn't Cypher exactly. The most simple way of looking at it is that he is a composite of Cypher and the annoying robot. He still looks and acts like Cypher. He still has romantic feelings for Elliot Pride. He eventually does get to pursue the relationship with Wolf's girl that he never did when he was alive. It's a way to let people have Cypher without having Cypher. They are happy to remind you plenty that he isn't Cypher. Elliot Pride refuses to accept him as Cypher reborn. Later on, if I remember correctly, the same is true of Cannonballs. They both come around to him and acceptance over time. I think it was absolutely the right way to bring the character back to life. Doesn't cheat out or change him dying. It is a real have your cake and eat it too solution to Cypher. It also resolves the big problem people have with Cypher, because now Cypher has all the powers of the annoying robots. After Borg Covenant, Cypher, and I'll keep calling him Cypher, continues to operate with the Excellent Men and the team based in Scotland that star in Excalibur. He is in all of Warren Fallis's run, and then he is in Bat Rabies's run, which closes out the series. He's one of the best characters in both those runs. He also appears in New Mutants Volume 2, and I need to make a correction. I referred to New Mutants Volume 3 as New Mutants Volume 2 yesterday. Many people do that because New Mutants Volume 2 is a mini-series, and some people refer to it as New Mutants Truth or Dare. That series allowed the new Cypher to reunite with many of his odd teammates who come to accept him as his own thing. He gets to have an adventure with them. I like that. This is getting long. The thing is, I really like Borg Covenant and the way they brought Cypher back, because I really like Cypher's death and I really like Borg Zombie Cypher. What I don't like is they retcon all of that away. They reveal that all along it was never a Gestalt being. It was the annoying robot, and he was convinced that he was Cypher. This retcon was by Louis Simons. the writer who killed Cypher off. And to prove that I don't play favourites, I despise the retcon. I think it is selfish, and she only did it to remove a version of Cypher walking around that undercut what was her best writing. It is a bad and even thoughtless retcon, because now it makes it the case that Wolf's Girl was, by the annoying robot. She didn't know it was him. She thought it was a version of Cypher, the lost love that died young. That series didn't last long anyway, cancelled at 9 issues. I'd have read a Borg Cypher solo title, but I won't read an annoying robot solo title that retcons Borg Cypher. I think Nimrod is in one issue though. Cypher finally comes back to life proper in 2010 during a crossover. He was again resurrected through the use of Borg technology and infection. This time he was brought back as a slave for Kate Beckinsale, but he eventually overcame this control, and he has been alive ever since and become a total bullshit character. I'm not even going to bother with a segue. Writing Mr. Magnets is always a potential big miss with me, especially when it is having to write him within the context of Christopher Clairvoyant, having made him Headmaster. And here is raw outburst in response to Cypher's death is actually fantastically done. Much like Borg Cypher, this is a great example of trying to have your cake and eat it too. Mr. Magnets is evil here, but he is still their headmaster. He still cares for them, and this anger here is evidence of how much the death of Cypher affects him. But at the same time, Lois Simons understands Mr. Magnets because she has his true character boiled to the surface. He is an angry little bully. His response is to condescend and to lash out at children, to show that he is their superior in every manner. Which leads to further payoff with Anya Taylor-Joy, who has had her image of Mr. Magnets as a guardian shattered by his outbursts and the nastiness towards them. He is a bad guy. Deal with it. He can be a deep, conflicted, layered bad guy, sure. But end on end. The New Muties adopt some new costumes because why not? They have been in those training uniforms for ages, and their graduation costumes sucked down to being designed by an overrated artist. I'll wrap this up here. This story is about Cypher's death and his friends dealing with it, and it is all done exceptionally. I have enjoyed looking at this story. I have wanted to give it a reread for about a year, and I hope that dedicating a week to it on my channel hasn't bored anyone. I'll give this issue another grand hard 7 thumbs up.